Good morning, dear students. In the last lecture, we discussed about food resources, and today we'll talk about biodiversity. So, let's start our today's lecture. First of all, introduction. Biodiversity refers to the variety and variability among all groups of living organisms. The term biodiversity was coined by Sir Walter G. Rosen in 1986. We can say that richness or the abundance of species that is found in any area can be termed as biodiversity. The richness of biodiversity in any area depends on factors like climatic conditions of that area as well as geographical landscape of any region. So, based on the abiotic factors such as temperature, rainfall, humidity, soil condition, topography, the variety of living organism in any particular area differs from another area. So, this variability and variety of life greatly depends on the change in abiotic conditions of different regions. When we study about biodiversity, we study it at different levels. So, we will talk about some levels of biodiversity. There are three levels of biodiversity. First one is genetic biodiversity. Many times we see the two organisms of same species, but although they belong to the same species, yet there are morphological differences in their appearance, the color of the hairs on their body, the color of eyes, etc. And that is because of different gene structure in those offsprings or organisms. So, whenever we study the differences among the organisms at genetic level, such type of biodiversity is known as genetic biodiversity. It is diversity within the species due to differences in the genetic structure. Slightly higher level is species diversity, and in this diversity the number of species of plants and animals that are present in any region constitutes this species diversity. It represents the species richness and their abundance in a community. So, in any particular area we may see different species of animals as well as plants, and that is because of diversity in species, and it is termed as species diversity. The third level of biodiversity is ecosystem diversity. We have discussed in the previous lectures that on this earth different types of ecosystems exist, such as aquatic ecosystems, for example, river, lakes, oceans, ponds, etc., as well as terrestrial ecosystems such as grasslands, deserts, forests. And whenever we compare the biotic components of all these ecosystems, we find a great difference in their structure, function, etc., and this forms the ecosystem diversity. This means that on this planet there are different type of ecosystems and they are quite diverse among each other. The distinctive ecosystems showing ecosystem diversity includes forests, grasslands, deserts, mountains, ecosystems, etc., as well as aquatic ecosystems such as ponds, rivers, lakes and sea. So, the diversity starts at the genetic level and it ends up to the ecosystem level. There are three levels of diversity on this planet: genetic, species as well as ecosystem diversity. Now, we will talk about the values or the benefits of this biodiversity to the mankind as well as environment. The values of biodiversity can be summarized into sum of points. The first value of biodiversity is consumptive values. This means that we get something from this biodiversity which we consume in our day to day life, and these are the direct use value where the biodiversity product can be harvested and consumed directly. The example of consumptive values of biodiversity include use of biodiversity as a food source, use of biodiversity as drugs, use as fuel as well as fibers. First, use of biodiversity as food. Approximately 80,000 edible plant species has been reported from wild. Means 80,000 plants which we used in eating, they used to grow in the forest long back. About 90% of the food crops has been domesticated from the wild tropical plants. So, we consume a large portion of biodiversity as a food source. The second consumptive value is drugs and medicines. We know that near about 75% of the world population depends on plant or plant extracts for medicines. Few examples are the antibiotic penicillin is prepared from the fungus Penicillium. The quinine medicine, which is an anti-malaria drug, it is also prepared from the bark of cinchona tree. Then digitalin medicine, which is used in the heart ailments, it is obtained from a plant foxglove. So, likewise there are a number of different plants whom we are consuming as a medicine, and they are associated with certain medicinal values. We also consume biodiversity as a fuel. Forests has been used for the fuel wood. The fossil fuel such as coal, petroleum and natural gas, these are also the products of fossilized biodiversity. So, the consumptive value of biodiversity includes use as a food, medicine and drugs as well as fuel. The second value of biodiversity includes productive values. This means we get number of products from the biodiversity which are used for economic purposes. Examples may include the products from animals such as tusks of elephant, musk from the musk deer, silk we get from the silkworm. Sheeps are used to obtain wool. Fur of many animals are also used. Lac is obtained from the lac insect. We also get number of products from the plants such as timber for construction of houses and buildings. Wood is also processed to make paper. Rubber we get from rubber plants. Number of plants give us resins, gums, tannins, etc. Similarly, there are many more products which we obtain from plants as well as animals. So, these are the productive values of our biodiversity. There are many industries which are dependent upon the products from the biodiversity, such as pulp and paper industry, which use wood as a raw material for manufacturing paper. Plywood industry use timber that is obtained from the forests. Railway sleeper industry, where wood is used in on large scale. Silk industry, then textile industry, ivory works, leather industry, pearl industry, etc. All these industries are dependent on the biodiversity because the raw material which is used in these industries comes from either plants or the animals. The third value of biodiversity can be called as social values. These are the values which are associated with the social lives, customs, religions and psycho-spiritual aspects of the people. Many plants are considered holy and sacred in our country, such as in Hindu religion, tulsi, people, mango, lotus, bale, all these are worshipped. and they are associated with their gods. Many animals like cow, snake, bull, peacock, owl, etc. are also have significant place in our psycho-spiritual arena, and thus hold a special social importance. So these are the social values of the biodiversity. Because of these biodiversity, we have an connection of some of the plants as well as animals with our social uh, uh, culture, customs, religion, etc. The fourth value of biodiversity is ethical values. Ethical values are related to the biodiversity conservation, and these values are based on the importance of protecting all forms of life. It involves ethical issues like all life must be preserved. The Indian civilization has over several generations preserved nature through local traditions, and this has been an important part of the ancient philosophy of many of our cultures. We have in our country a large number of sacred groves preserved by the tribal people in several states of our country. In this slide, you can see two pictures. Uh, on the top, on the down side, on the left side, there is a picture from Tamil Nadu, that is a sacred grove in Puthupet area. Its name is Kovil Kadu. And on the right side, we have a image of a forest, that is Kavu, and it is located at Haripad in Kerala. So likewise, there are thousands of sacred groves which has been documented in our country. In the next slide, we will see the numbers of these sacred groves state wise. So in this image, you can see the distribution of sacred groves in India. Like you can see, in Jammu and Kashmir, we have nearby 5,000 such sacred groves in Jammu, Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. In Uttaranchal, we have 18 sacred groves which has been documented, and these are the areas which are protected by the local villagers as well as the tribal people, and these sacred groves are preserved and protected by the local people. So you can see that almost all the states have good number of sacred groves. So this concept also helps us in conservation of this biodiversity, and this is an valuable importance or value, a good value of biodiversity in our country. The next value of biodiversity is aesthetic value. Great aesthetic value is attached to biodiversity. The ecotourism is estimated to generate near about $12 billion of revenue annually, and it is a growing area. The another value of biodiversity is optional value. All of us know that we have a large number of plants and animals which exist on this planet, and because of that it provides us an optional value. Keeping future possibilities open for their use is called optional values. Out of millions of plants and animals which we have on this earth, we are not taking a direct benefit from all of them at present, but we do not know that in future what kind of benefit we can get from those varieties of plants and animals which are at present not of much use to us or much benefit to us, but we are preserving or we are preserving those varieties with us, although these varieties do not give us direct benefit at present, because we do not know what kind of benefit we may get from them in the future. It is possible to predict which of our species or traditional varieties of crops and domestic animals will be of great use in the future. Thus, the optional value is the value of knowing that there are biological resources existing on this biosphere that may one day prove to be an effective option for something important in the future. For example, if any plant which is growing in the forest as a wild and is of no direct use to us at present, maybe in the future we may get some medicine out of that plant which may be used to treat the dreadful diseases like cancer, heart problems, diabetes, etc. So, with the advent of technology, we may get many things out of these plants and animals in the future, but for that we will have to preserve them to that time, so that they can be used for the benefit of society. So, this is the optional value of biodiversity. The next value of biodiversity, which is very important value of biodiversity, is called ecosystem services. It refers to the services provided by ecosystem to the environment, such as prevention of soil erosion. The biodiversity helps in prevention of soil erosion. We know this very well. The prevention of floods, the dense forest help in preventing the floods in any area. Maintenance of soil fertility. The forests are known for increasing the fertility of land. So, this is again an environmental value of biodiversity. They also help in cycling of nutrients. We have studied number of biogeochemical cycles in the previous lectures. So, if there are no plants or animals, then we will not be able to see these biogeochemical cycles on this planet. They also help in fixation of nitrogen. We have seen in the nitrogen cycle. The biodiversity also help in water cycle. We know that the water which comes as a rain on this planet is taken to the underground aquifers by the plants. This water is then taken up by the roots, and with the help of transpiration process it is returned back to the atmosphere in the form of water vapors. So, this water cycle is regulated by the biodiversity. The plants are also known as carbon sinkers because they absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and by the process of photosynthesis convert it into starch or glucose. So, this carbon dioxide is responsible for global warming, but starch or glucose in the plants is a form that is not dangerous to us in terms of global warming. So, this biodiversity or the plants sink carbon dioxide or carbon from the atmosphere. So, these are also known as carbon sinkers. The biodiversity also help in pollutant absorption and reduction of threat of the global warming, etc. Likewise, there are many other ecosystem values or services which the biodiversity provides to us. So, most important one I have mentioned in this slide, but this is not the end. Besides this also there are number of benefits which is provided to us by the plants and animals. So, these are the ecosystem services or the values of biodiversity. So, that was all about today's lecture. In the next lecture we will talk about some more on biodiversity. So, that was all about today. Thank you very much.